The battle against a terminal illness is never easy. There are moments of triumph, followed by the knowledge that a loved one will reach their final days. Each individual who faces a terminal illness has the right to spend their final days in comfort, peace, and tranquility, treated with dignity and respect. That is the philosophy of care, known as hospice.
Our medical system has kind of grown into treating disease and curing people, and there's this other segment of the population called the dying who really need a different kind of care at the end of life. Hospice really was evolved to do the body, heart, mind, and soul component, to care for the family and patient as the unit of care, and to be sure the patients and families were given a lot of comfort, support, and help at the end of life.
Losing a loved one is never easy. Hospice care can help ease the transition for the terminally ill patient as well as their family and caregivers. Hospice allows family members unrestricted access to their loved one in their final days. And for a person who is alone and facing the inevitable without the benefit of friends or family, hospice care can be even more valuable.
Hospice's care model is an interdisciplinary care model. That means that we have physicians, patient and family, nurses, social workers, chaplains. We have volunteers who are kind of the backbone of our support system, all coming around the patient at the time when they need them and giving what the patient wants.
I've been volunteering here for 2 years, and this has become a second home to me. I love the patients. I love the families. Actually, we volunteers seem to become very attached to the people who are here, and families are very important to us.
Most terminally ill patients and their families prefer to spend the final days of life at home. And while it is possible to have hospice care at home, depending on the person's condition, this may not be an option. Hospice facilities provide the next best thing by providing a comfortable home-like setting while having access to the full range of hospice services, including medical care, counseling, volunteer support, and even visits from clergy.
Hospice was founded and remains centered on the community's needs, and those now sometimes dictate that a patient can't be cared for in their home or in a long-term facility, and thus we formed residence programs where we've created an environment where we support them not only with compassionate personal care, but in a nurturing environment where dignity is preserved.
Some people fear that putting a loved one in hospice care is perceived as giving up. Experienced hospice care professionals help family understand this isn't true.
Sometimes when people are entering hospice, they're fearful that it means that they're giving up or giving into their disease. We find the greatest fear that people face is the fear of facing it alone. And so our central mission and core is to come alongside of them and their family and join them in this very important part of their journey.
Hospice care includes grief and bereavement counseling for all family members, which is available for up to 13 months after the death of their loved one. The last days of life can also be particularly hard for children to comprehend. There are specific programs designed to help young ones understand and cope with the reality.
The other programs that we have are a very, very expansive grief and loss program with community presentations, support groups, and a small but very vital program, which is an art therapy bereavement program for children and adolescents. They have a number of camps during the year. They also do one-on-one and individual therapy, as well as helping parents deal with children's loss issues. The families are given a lot of instruction about the care of their family member. At the end of life, there is a chaplain and social worker available for any issues that they need to talk about. The patient and family are a unit of care.
After losing a loved one, the grieving goes on for years. But for the many whose loved ones spent their final days in hospice care, it was the best decision they could have made.
My father came down here from Delaware. We moved him in with us for his last year here. Toward the end, we were given about 24/7 care, and it really got to be too much.
We made one visit to the hospice house after we had visited other locations for a placement for him. We walked in the front door and it was like, this is perfect.
Mother wanted to die at home, but we could not do that. And as we began to check our options, hospice stepped in for us in a number of ways, just wonderful.
As a volunteer, we try to satisfy the needs of each and every patient. If you have any compassion in you and you want to help people, hospice is the place to go. These patients here need love, they need understanding, they need affection. And it has to be in you.
Hospice care is important because it's a choice the patients and families have outside of the traditional medical model. It gives a patient and family who have that particular value set an opportunity to have the end-of-life issues dealt with in a dignified and comforting way, with pain and symptom control in place and with support of their community.
For nearly 30 years, Hospice of the Piedmont has been dedicated to providing compassionate hospice care in Central Virginia. With a caring and dedicated staff of volunteers and professionals, they have proudly become the largest provider of hospice care in the area.
Hospice of the Piedmont was founded in 1980 by a small group of visionary volunteers who wanted our community to have a hospice that would respond in a compassionate way to the needs of the dying. Today we have a large staff. We cover 9 counties. We have a variety of programs that we service our communities with.
Hospice of the Piedmont provides care and support to patients, their families, and caregivers wherever a patient calls home in the last days of life.
The interdisciplinary team of the hospice provides a continuum of care to patients in their homes, in long-term care facilities, and retirement homes.
For many individuals, having access to hospice care in the last days of life for a loved one provides a relief from pain and suffering and allows time to focus on the important aspects of their relationships.
Hospice of the Piedmont has an array of unique programs that we offer the community, starting with Transitions, which is a program for patients who are not ready for hospice but have some questions. The other programs that we have, which are really related to grief and loss, within that grief and loss program are a number of individual counseling sessions, support groups, public workshops that we do for the community, as well as a Journeys program for children and adolescents who've had a loss.
When the decision was made to transport Granddad to this hospice house, the transition was seamless.
The staff here was very loving, very caring. We realized he could actually get better care here than what we were able to give him anymore. And when we had to leave at the end of the day, we felt comfortable leaving him with the staff here.
The people in hospice were I call them our angels, the angels of hospice, because they came alongside us and carried us and Mother.
For patients who cannot be cared for in their own homes, Hospice of the Piedmont offers the community's only hospice house.
I think what sets Hospice of the Piedmont apart from many other places is the passion of the staff and everybody throughout the organization to making sure the patients' final days are done with dignity, compassion, and real consideration for the family.
Hospice of the Piedmont is dedicated to the hospice philosophy.
Our organization really feels that everybody has a right to compassionate care at the end of life and an organization that can deliver on that promise.
The last days of life represent the end of a journey. Hospice of the Piedmont helps patients and their families make the most of their final days together. When pain and symptoms are controlled, a patient can enjoy the things that are most important to them. Hospice is truly a special kind of care.